guided accordingly. So, a maximum of 10 minutes between presentation, question, and answer. So you leave the questions on the back, yes. So we'll start from there. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Group 1. And let's have the mic for Group 1. So Group 1, you present here or up? Up will be better? Yeah, just...
Good afternoon. Yeah, this is Group 1, and I would request that the members of Group 1 to stand and just 1 minute to introduce yourself and also give a brief of the organization where you serve.
Afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
My name is Luwani Soko. I'm Director at Public Service Management Division in the Government of the Republic of Zambia. Public Service Management Division, we service the public service in government. I'm at Cabinet Office.
Good afternoon. My name is Evangeline Joka from the Kenya National Commission for UNESCO. I'm the CEO. The Commission for UNESCO is the liaison office between UNESCO and the government. So we represent Kenya's interest in UNESCO and of course UNESCO's interest in the country. Thank you.
We need to be appreciating them, yeah? So can you clap for the first two? Yes, because...
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is James Njogu, Deputy Secretary General, Kenya National Commission for UNESCO. The CEO has introduced what it is, so let me not repeat. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Wamboi Nyoto. I'm a commissioner at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Danvas Makori. I'm a commissioner at the National Integration Commission. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mugambi Ntonchebere. I'm Kenya Civil Aviation Authority Director in charge of the training school, the East African School of Aviation. KCAA is charged with the responsibility of economically regulating Kenyan airspace, offering air navigation services, and also training in aviation. The school that I head is also the Regional Training Center for International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, with the mandate to train Africa and Indian Ocean, AFI region. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Salome Kamanza, and I work from Konza Technopolis. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dongo David, Manager Finance, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and my director there has said what we do.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eliud Jela, Chief Accountant at the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority.
Thank you. Group 1, have we had your entire government represented?
Yes, although, yes, there are few members who are not with us. One of them from Kenya Civil Aviation Authority who has gone to attend a global webinar. So we have excused him, and a few of them who are not with us. Now, to introduce myself, I'm Skita Wangeshi Mbogwa. I'm the CEO of National Cohesion and Integration Commission, a commission which was established through an act of Parliament in 2008. That is National Cohesion and Integration Act 2008. That law was passed by the members of Parliament after the post-election violence that were witnessed in the 2007 elections. Now, the Commission is mandated to look at issues of cohesion, integration, and peace to ensure that there is equitable distribution of opportunities, and also to ensure that people are living in dignity, peace, and unity. Now, Dr. Makori was our chairperson, and he also sits in the Finance Committee in the Commission. Now, I'll start with the first question to identify the best practices in public finance management. We discussed several of them. I noted a few. The technology-driven, we realized that the public finance management is technologically driven, where we have digitalized systems. That is, for example, the information finance management system, and also the ERP, procurement management system, and also the auditing system. We also noted that there are enabling legal frameworks that have been put in place to ensure that the PFM is managed properly. We also noted the issue of good governance, where the management is able to ensure transparency, accountability, sustainability, and also public participation. It was noted also that one of the best practices is that it takes note of the risk management system, and it also ensures that the audit process is carried out in a way that is transparent and in a way to improve service delivery. It was also noted that capacity building is ensured to ensure that the system is managed in a good way. Now, among the challenges we noted is bureaucracy in public sector. You realize even from the presentation of yesterday's presentation, there are quite a number of people who need to give approval. So those bureaucracy poses challenges in this system. There is also inadequate resources at times, where you realize that because of inadequate resources, the capacity building is not adequately carried out, and this poses a huge challenge. There is also an aspect of culture, where we have corruption, and we also have the wrong attitude or poor attitude and mindset from the people who are supposed to ensure that they manage public finances. We also noted that there is lack of goodwill at times from the politicians. You realize that when it was being rolled out, this IFMIS, there were many politicians who were giving out reasons as to why their counties cannot be able to adapt, and that also poses a great challenge. It was also noted in the discussions that sometimes, because of this lack of goodwill, you realize that an act is passed like in 2012, and then after 5 years, that's when we have regulations being passed. So that is a very serious challenge, and it emanates from legislatures sometimes not supporting the process fully. Also to note is Procurement Act that was passed in 2015, and 5 years down the lane, the regulations had not been passed. These regulations were passed in 2020. So you can imagine that gap of 5 years, what was happening. So that poses a very, very serious challenge. Now, amongst the interventions, the group noted that it is important to ensure that there is adequate capacity building from time to time to ensure that the issue of attitude and lack of knowledge is addressed. It was also noted that it is important to carry out regular research in the system to see what can be done to enhance. And I think that one also falls under the monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation system can be enhanced to ensure that proper systems, the challenges are adequately addressed. It was also noted that it is important to ensure that enforcement is strengthened, so that if there is somebody who does not comply with the regulations or with the act, then a step is taken. So if enforcement is not done, then we are not sure whether the performance management system that has been set is going to be able to work to the way it is supposed to. Now, also it was noted that enhancing good governance is important to ensure that the issues of structure, systems, and processes have been addressed adequately. And under governance is where we look at the issues of transparency, accountability, and also ensuring that the system is sustainable. It was also noted that it is important to ensure that proper infrastructure has been put in place. This information management system, or the technology that is used, is supposed to use the internet, so it is important to ensure that all areas have been served by the optical systems to ensure that there is proper network and therefore proper utilization of the management system. It was also noted that it is important to ensure adequate public participation, to ensure that all the people are aware on what the system is supposed to address and the need to address those systems. And lastly, it was emphasized that there is need for collaborative decision making, so that you don't leave for a particular body to make decision, but through partnership and through proper collaboration, decision making can be enhanced. I think that is what was noted, and above all, it was emphasized that it is good to ensure that there is proper learning of the best practices, and we keep on addressing and improving the system to ensure that it serves us adequately. Thank you very much. That is a brief presentation from Group 1.
Thank you so much, Group 1. I know, being the first group, we needed to get things moving, and I think we have already started. Let's appreciate the entire Group 1 again. Going through the 3 questions, a number of things have come up. I know we had set an agreement that we'll be able to discuss, but looking at it, then do we keep the discussions and responses at the end, or we discuss as per the group? At the end. Okay, so how sure we won't lose what you want to tell us at the start? You give me that assurance that if we discuss at the end, you will sum them up. Okay, thank you. Then Group 2. Group 2. Good, let's appreciate Group 2. Where are the members of Group 2? Members of Group 2, we need to get you introduced as we get the presenter. So let's know the members of Group 2. Very fast and very brief. Group 2 was the county governments. Can I say that?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Benjamin Mutie, County Secretary, Makueni.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Munguti. I'm the Director of Special Programs, Makueni County.
Very clearly so that we know you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Rosa Oyolo. I'm the Chief Officer for Livestock and Fisheries, Nyandarua County Government.
My name is Sarah Ndegwa, Chief Officer, Nyandarua County for Education, Culture and the Arts.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mary, and I'm the Chief Officer in charge of Tourism and Natural Resources, County Government of Nyandarua.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Martha Lemba. I'm from the County Government of Nairobi, Deputy Director, Public Communications.
Good afternoon. My name's Dr. Joseph Maina, Chief Officer, Agriculture, Nyandarua County.
Augustine Ketheka, Chief Officer, Education, Sports and ICT, Makueni.
Good afternoon. My name is Juvenalis Diongo, Chief Officer Finance, Nyandarua County.
Good afternoon. I'm Nancy Gedaiga, Murang'a County Assembly, Senior Finance Officer.
Good afternoon. My name is Nzioki Wakingola, Chief of Staff, Government of Makueni County.
Samson Mweru. I'm the Chief Officer for Trade and Industry, Nyandarua County. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Isaac Waithaka. I'm the Chief Officer, Youth, Sports, Gender and Social Services, Nyandarua County.
Samuel Mushono is my name, Chief Officer, Cooperatives, Nyandarua County.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Nelson Kimilu, Chief Officer, Lands, Housing and Physical Planning, Nyandarua County.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lawrence Gitau. I'm the Chief Officer, Transport, Energy and Public Works in Nyandarua County.
So thank you so much. We can go to the presenter. Let's appreciate the county government. Presenter, go on.
Okay, thank you very much for that introduction. That group was composed of 5 counties. That is Nyandarua, Makueni, Murang'a, and Nairobi, 4 counties. And my name. Okay, Wainaina Muigai is my name. I'm the Chief Officer, Economic Planning and Development, Nyandarua County. And as you can note, Madam Kagura and your team from the KSG fraternity is when you call counties, it's like you see Nyandarua, the way it has come. So it's good that we are here because we need to learn. And thank you very much for that. Now, PFM, what I can start with is to say that when counties were formed, when devolution came into place, we got 47 county governments and the national government making them 48. We normally talk of 48 county governments. County governments, as far as PFM is concerned, I can say this is where the proof of the pudding is tested. This is where the rubber meets the road as far as PFM is concerned. Because what is contained in the Public Finance Management Act is enacted there. And what we can say is that whatever resolutions that we have come up with here have been tested because this is what is there. We are the wearer of the shoe and we know where it is pinchy. So when we talk of challenges, when we talk of the strong points of the PFM, this is actually what is happening on the ground. Now, as far as identifying the best practice in the PFM, and what I'm saying is that this is what we are getting on the ground because we are out the counties. We are the people who are driving the national economy because it is an aggregation of what is there in the counties that we are able to build up this gigantic framework in the national government. When we say that the county has registered a 5.1% growth in gross domestic product, it is coming from these counties. So whatever we have documented here is what we ourselves feel. And if there are some actions to be taken after this is what should be taken because it is coming directly in the natural form from the ground. As far as the best practices are concerned, or what we can say is that PFM came up with a myriad of benefits, and particularly for us who used to work in the national government before the counties came, we can say it was a blessing. Just as they say is that every rose flower has a thorn, we cannot not say that we don't have problems. Yes, we have very good things, but still problems are there, which will now answer question number 2, the challenges. But the best thing is just work to try and capitalize on the strong points, and then we know how to deal with the challenges. Now, when the PFM came, the public finance management, for one, it is well enshrined in the Constitution, just as the previous presenters had mentioned here. Article 201 of the Constitution of Kenya on Public Finance and the principles of public finance, that we have to ensure that because we are talking of public resources or public money, this is not an individual's money. Public money that must be guarded jealously. We have to ensure that people get value for money. We have to ensure that we apply all the public finance principles, openness, fairness, reporting should be clear. The way we collect our taxes, it has to be well documented. The way we distribute our taxes amongst development programs and projects to ensure that the whole country is well developed. The way we share resources between ourselves and those who are to come, that is the future generation, not amassing so many debts and then we leave the same to the people who will come after us, but just to ensure that there is that fair play and equitable distribution of resources between current and the future generation. So those are normally well taken care of. Now, number 1, at the PFM, accountability is normally very clear because it is well stipulated at the PFM Act, and we have to ensure that each and every time we undertake each and every transaction, that we follow the PFMA to the letter. You know, the PFM also came with the ways that we are going to spend, how we are going to procure goods, how we are going to spend, and then from there, how we are going to monitor and evaluate our projects and programs, how we are going to do our reporting, and after doing our reporting, then after that, another independent office will come and check to see whether we did conform to all those processes, the Office of the Auditor General, including others, from public procurement or PPRA. They also send their auditors to come to the ground to see whether we are doing as per the law. So we have to ensure that we follow the law, and these checks and balances have really assisted us in the PFM. Now, we were able it's also introduced an integrated payroll system that manages the entire county workforce and also is still in the national government, just to ensure that people who are being paid are the ones who are working within the county, and this management is normally very smooth, because taking the number of employees in a county and the system that is put in place, we are able to do this effectively well. There is also the aspect of the credibility of the budget. Counties have managed to increase their local revenues over time. By the time devolution came, I do believe that, particularly in our county, Nyandarua, because it is just an agricultural county, we used to collect 138 million per year. Now we are almost hitting 500 million shilling mark. So you can see with these reforms in the PFM, we have been able to do much better. Transparency of the budget, again, administration and economic classification of the budgets are very clear. You know now the members of the public are under the PFM, they are well informed. When we talk of introduction of the public participation, you call members of the public to go and participate in the budget process. They well know that we have been promised that we will get a dam or we get a classroom. And it was normally very clear to them because the budget documents must show the outcomes, must show the impact, must show the monitorable indicators, they must be well portrayed there. So, when the members of the public have this information, they are able now to put the county governments on its toes to ensure that whatever has been promised has been delivered. So transparency is at very, very high level. Effectiveness on tax collection, many counties carried out automation which enhance revenue collection again. Just as mentioned out there, apart from now doing it manually that we used to do, now automation is almost everything with the counties and we are able to collect much revenue. Introduction of statutory deadlines for budget documents to ensure timely implementation of projects. Again, at the PFM, the PFMA Act outlines various deadlines which we must observe. We know very well that we must observe the 31st August deadline for the budget circular. We know that we must observe the 1st September deadline for the annual development plan. That is September every year for the budget review and outlook paper. 28th of February for the county fiscal strategy paper. 28th of February for the county debt management strategy paper. 30th of April for the budget estimates submitted to the county assembly. Assembly given 2 months to make sure that they pass the budget by 30th of June every year. 1st of July to ensure that we do the appropriation laws, the warrants, and also putting the budget to the IFI. Now, these statutory deadlines that were brought as a result of the PFM have really assisted. Otherwise, without the deadlines, then people would have been dilly-dallying or doing whatever they want, and we could have observed cases of lateness in budget implementation. I have mentioned the issue of efficiency in tax collection, then predictability in the availability of funds for the commitment to expenditure. Remember, the CRA, the Commission on Revenue Allocation is there, which was also introduced then, and they normally tell us how much money we get in the counties of the national government. They come up with the formulas on how to allocate resources between the national and the county governments. And what we can say is that from 2013 up to last year, whatever the national government has been promising, we have always been getting it. It's only that it was only last year when COVID struck that we were not able to get our monies. There were some 2 disbursements which were did not come forth, though the same was released in the current financial year. So what we can say is predictability. Once we budget on various projects and programs, we know very well that we are going to implement these. Very good reforms under the PFMA. There's also on the issue of procurement, there is a lot of competition, value for money, and controls in procurement. Now that we have to ensure that the way we procure goods and services in an open manner, these days there is what we call e-procurement, such that everything now is on the portal. The LPOs, the LSOs are raised online for accountability. People can be able to see what we are able to do. So it creates a lot of openness, and people from various walks of life, or contractors or suppliers, are invited such that they do compete, and once they compete, of course, we get value for money and a lot of control. Timeliness and regularity of accounts reconciliation again. The PFMA talks of when is this report due? When are we supposed to do a reconciliation? When are we supposed to submit our Q1 reports? When do we do the Q2 reports? When do we do ABCD? That one in itself is also very, very important because this timeliness also assists us in, assists the counties in ensuring that we do what is supposed to be from our side. Then from there, there's the issue of capping on what goes to development, what goes to salaries and recurrent expenditure. PFMA, just as we have gone through various lessons here, 30% must go to development. That capping is very, very important because if there was no capping, then maybe people may decide to do everything on development or everything on recurrent. Even the issue of the salaries, SRC, when it came, it has again been capped at that 5%. We have to ensure that out of our budget, only that 5% goes to personal emoluments. So this is very important. Then rollout of the program-based budget, what we call the PBBs. a program-based budget with the clear outputs, with the clear indicators, such that one can be able to follow. That you want to do a dam, these are the inputs, these are the outputs. Very, very important reforms on the PFMA. Then from there, we have strict controls on public resources, including the establishment of media offices. Remember this time around, we as county and as well as the national government, when you want to get the money from the national government, you must go through the Office of the Control of Budget. Previously, I think some 3 or 4 years down the line, we used to go and collect money in lump sum from the Office of the Control of Budget. But these days, you must first of all process all your transactions. They go out to internet banking level. Once they are at that level and they are ready for payment, that is when you go to the Office of the Control Budget. Just to ensure that we don't have idle money lying in the counties. So we process, we go get the money, then we come and pay. These are very, very, very good control measures. Very, very good control measures. Then from there, we have the Salaries and Remuneration Commission also established after devolution. That is still another PFM reform. Also to check on the salaries and what you are paying out there, the Office of the Auditor General and the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Then from there, we can also say checks and balances. Remember, in the IFMIS system, no one person can be able to do a transaction from initiating up to the end. There is a lot of checks and balances. You do up to this point, then the other person takes to the other point, then the other point, ensuring that it's value for money. Also, another measure of, another good aspect on PFM reform, which has been able to safeguard these public resources in a jealous manner, as it was mentioned. Now, on the other issue is that there is uniformity in counties. With the 47 county governments, if they were just left alone to decide what to do, we could be having 47 totally different reports. But now, with the PFM reforms, there is a lot of uniformity. Yes, I'm finishing in 2 minutes. Yeah, there is a lot of uniformity, such that now one county can be able to even look at what the other county is doing, as far as that way is concerned. Challenges, number one, strict controls from the national government. Strict controls, but we need some autonomy at the counties. A challenge and a solution. Strict control, the solution is we need autonomy. Number two, if missed downtime, this is another problem that we have always been experiencing. Each and every time we want to go and pay, it is not possible. Why? There is if missed downtime. The system, the processes are not going through. Problem with if miss. Number three, capacity building issues. You know, when each and every government comes in, the governor himself, the deputy governor, the CECs and the CEOs need to be capacity built on these systems, on this PFM system to know how they operate. Remember, the governor is the CEO of the county, and if things go haywire, the governor is held responsible. So a lot of capacity building is needed. And you see, after every 5 years, you need this capacity building, and systems keep on changing. So that is another issue, challenge, but the capacity building that we receive is not yet enough. So as a solution, we need this to be enhanced. So then from there, competition between bidders. Remember, there was a presentation here when we were saying that the competition is not normally very fair because of the rules of the game are normally not fair. Remember, the issue of the total is here and the here. When they are running, if you you tell them on your marks and then they are doing 100 meters, it's not fair. So we need, I think, here to have to come up with some groupings such that maybe someone has a capital, he can only be able to raise $1 million shillings to perform a particular task. Another person has a capacity to raise even 100 million. And then we advertise a tender for 800,000 shillings. So if you put these people at the same level, then there will be no fair competition. No clear framework on the public participation. I think I still repeat, I had asked this question this morning. Public participation everywhere, annual development plan, CIDP, county budget if you want out to paper, the county fiscal strategy paper, the annual estimates, public participation everywhere. So, it is still not clear. I don't know how we are going to do about this, but this is a learning process. I do believe that even KSG will come in. Political interference, a big problem, big problem.
You will now make it a bit summarized. So
yes.
Thank you.
Okay. It is only that we are aware of the issue and we know where the problems are. That is why you see they keep on popping up.
Okay.
Limitation on generation of the financial statements. The other thing, maybe also, which is also important, is remember under procurement, when we are advertising out tenders there to go to members of the public, we ourselves, we know how to use IFMIS. The members of the public are supposed to go there, the bidders, to go and also feed in their details in IFMIS platform, and they have no knowledge about it. So still capacity building problem. It is a two-way. We need to have the knowledge, they also need to have the knowledge, but it becomes a problem. Time lag between enactment of the procurement and enabling legislation, again, we do the PFMA Act in 2012, regulations are coming in 2016. We do the PPAD in 2012, the regulations are coming in 2020. So thank you very much. I could have talked on and on, but I can see that my time manager is on my head. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wainaina, the Chief Officer for Finance and Economic Planning, Nyandarua County. I think the county which has given us many chief officers here. Let's appreciate them once more. For those who are not Kenyans, you will understand why this presentation is becoming a bit longer. It's because we got into the two-tier level of government, and they said the county government feels the highest impact in the government decisions. I did not understand how strict controls is a challenge. We need to discuss that later. Is the government over controlling the counties? Okay, that is the message we are getting, and the policies done, how they are impacting on them. Just keep our discussions, we'll be able to get there, okay? Let's appreciate the county governments. Let's see where we manage our time. I know we have so much to share. That's why we had given the time for sharing the cases. Daktari is here. We are supposed to have looked at part of it, but part of the PFM cases and the elements of digital aspects and automation is coming up, especially with the procurement and the portals and the systems of reporting. We appreciate. Let's give a hearing to each other. Our timekeeper will have to take up a responsibility now. She will be able to display the first 5 minutes remaining. You'll be able to see, there you are. So whoever is presenting, take note of the special responsibilities of our timekeeper. You can see when the handwriting is better, yeah? You can read it from far. Then from there, 2 minutes, and from there, you see the last one called what? Time is up. Can we try to do that? Yes. She will start counting the time after the introductions, okay? So that we don't get into your time. Okay, group number 3. Group 3, the presenter will add this side. Thank you, Bwana Wainaina. So let's get with 3, but we'll have to share this. Let's see where we control time. Group 3 members, we need to know you. Let's have the introduction of group 3 very fast. Move there. The other mic is ready for there. Okay, the mic is there.
Hello. My name is Rebecca. I'm a principal accountant at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ghana.
Thank you. Let's appreciate her.
I'm Victoria Sape, Ghana. I'm the secretary to the technical director, forestry.
I'm Georgina Elinam Tokono, Assistant Director, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ghana.
My name is Joyce Jael Mensah, Development Planning Officer with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ghana.
My name is Mary Aban, Accounts, Lands and Natural Resources, Ghana.
My name is Joseph Ando, Principal Record Supervisor, Lands and Natural Resources, Ghana.
Hello, my name is Dorothy Baxton.
Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Account Secretary.
Samuel Atta, Record Supervisor, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Ghana.
My name is Cynthia Millicent Maunya Ajo Ajade from Finance and Admin Directorate, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ghana. And as part of our mandate as a ministry, we are to ensure sustainable management and utilization of Ghana's forests, land, and mineral resources. Thank you.
Thank you. We go to the presenter. Thank you so much.
My name is Cherry Patience Bedema from the Internal Audit Unit of Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Thank you. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has been doing a lot concerning public financial management, but because of time factor, we are just going to mention a few of them. Ghana public financial management reform has been going on from 1997 to 2018. Given this long period of reforms, Ghana in 2019 has put up together public financial management information system for the next 5 years. The primary aim of these dual strategies is to assist the country in moving beyond reform to consolidation and sustainability. Some of our best practices: we examine the evolution of Ghana's public financial management reforms and make amendments where necessary. We review the legal and institutional reform undertaken to strengthen the country's public financial management institutions. There was a public expenditure and financial accountability assessment of Ghana's public financial management system relating to its micro-physical framework and physical reporting, as well as external scrutiny and auditing. Then we have digitization of tax revenue system. Example, if you come to Ghana, or even if you go to the internet, you will see that our court system has been digitized. You don't go to court now and pay money. You go online and do all your registrations. These are some of our challenges. The complexity and the multiplicity of the process of managing public finances in itself is a challenge for those responsible for the result of this process. Factors such as aging population and increasing health care, pension costs add to the budgetary pressures. There is a high demand from citizens that government should be made accountable for what they do with our with the taxpayers' money. The modern stage of public finance management is complicated by the presence of such phenomenon. 1, global economic crisis, globalization, terrorism, disease, public opinion, rapidly emerging in social network, new technologies, uncertainties, and other factors. Now, we have a lot of recommendations, but because of time factor, we are just going to lay hands on some of them. Now, we have audit compliance. We have right to information bill. So if you come to Ghana right now and you want to know what is going on, you just have to locate the office for RIT, and then you can get information of what is going on in Ghana. Then the Auditor General has the mandate to surcharge any public officer. We have penalties and offenses. We also have the Public Procurement Act, which has been established to provide check and balances in public procurement. Access declaration of some of the public officers. Then strong participation of public and civil societies, civil society organizations, public budget hearing, and then we have a public account committee where public officers are summoned to come and answer for public expenditure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our team from Ghana. Let's appreciate them once more. Yeah, thank you so much. So let's move to group number 4, but also keep in mind what the team from Ghana has presented and how it compares, especially with the first 2 teams which talked about Kenya and what's going on and what is common about these 2 countries. So group number 4. Let's appreciate group 4. Group 4 comprises of which institutions? Let's see the members of group 4. Members of group 4, let's have an introduction very fast of group 4. Let's know the members of group 4. Just go on.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Nimrod Mate, Parliamentary Service Commission. Particularly, I'm a Principal Research Officer in the Speaker's Office. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is John Karanja from the Teacher Service Commission. The mandate of the Teacher Service Commission is to undertake teacher management functions in our public schools.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Andrew Shangraj Manne, Principal Sergeant at Arms, Parliament of Kenya.
Thank you. Let's appreciate.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm Gerald Rodero, a certified human resource professional, currently working at the Parliamentary Service Commission. And as you are aware, the mandate of the Parliament of Kenya is legislation, oversight, and representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
My name is Joyce Wanjiko, Principal Office Administrator in the CEO's office at the Kenya Film Commission. Our mandate is to develop, promote, and market films locally and internationally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Alan Were from Teacher Service Commission. I'm a finance officer.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him.
Good afternoon. I'm Boniface Mbidi, working with Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Our mandate is to combat corruption, economic crimes, and unethical conducts through law enforcement, prevention, education, and promotion of ethical standards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Chadwick Onyuma, Human Resource Management Officer from Parliament. I think the mandate has been already been said by my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's appreciate them. Okay, let's have the presentation.
Good afternoon. My name is Mercy Bukania. I'm also from the Kenya Film Commission. I'm an internal auditor. And my colleague Joyce Wanjiko has summarized our key mandate. I am not here alone. I'm also with the board of directors who will get an opportunity to introduce themselves later on as the introductions go on. So group 4 was mainly commissions, and then the best practices in public financial management we looked at was the effective and efficient use of public resources as a best practice. Participatory process entrenched in our laws. There's a lot of public participation. There's also transparency and accountability, which has been brought about by the various systems that have been implemented. There's also seamless flow of information. There's an element of trust that has also been brought about due to public participation. We also have the efficient revenue collection systems. Implementation of programs is also timely as a best practice. We have monitoring and evaluation. Adherence to program-based budgeting is also a best practice. Then we also have the element of flexibility, especially in the wake of eventualities, as we saw with COVID. And then we've also managed to balance development and recurrent expenditure as a best practice. And we also have the element of oversight. We have various oversight authorities currently, such as the Office of the Auditor General and the Control of Budget. Then for the challenges in the achievement of PFM reforms, one of the challenges we looked at is lack of proper planning. We also have delays in disbursement of funds, technological challenges, which has been mentioned severally, failure to embrace technology, political interferences. We also have skills gap, threat of hacking systems, legislative gaps, and then also in the event of unforeseen events, procedures may not be followed. Then some of the interventions to address the challenges, we currently have oversight authorities to apprehend those involved in pilferage of public funds. Then there's also the conduct of regular audits to identify loopholes, strict enforcement of the law, frequent sensitization on public financial management, such as this one, business process reengineering, entrenchment of public participation in our laws. We also have skills development, especially in public financial management, examination and improvement of public financial management, frequent rotations between staff, and then also the conduct of lifestyle audits. So those are some of the interventions that we identified. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Group 4. Having the commissions, Parliamentary Service Commission, the Teacher Service Commission, Kenya Film Commission, and I think I got the other one was which one? I forgot the name. There was? Eh? ESCC, yeah, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Let's appreciate them once more. Thank you so much. I think we are moving on very well. Group 5. Group 5. Let's appreciate Group 5 as the presenter gets to the podium. I believe she's not alone. Where is Group 5? Group 5 members, you know, we are using this session also to know who is with us, and it's important that we identify ourselves so that we network as we go towards the end of the day. Take note of the organizations. If you have an interest, discuss with them after this, and also take note. Okay, let's start from there.
Yeah, I'm Cornelius Wafula Sangura, Senior Deputy Secretary, Minister of Forestry and Environment.
My name is Peter Sichangi, Senior Deputy Secretary at the DCI, Minister of Interior.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonam Kinama, Senior Deputy Secretary in the State Department for Livestock.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate him.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Migwi, Board Member and Commissioner at the Great Kenya Film Commission.
Thank you. Let's appreciate her.
Anne Gashengo, Ministry of Interior, Under Secretary at the Department of DCI.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate her.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Ernest Kerich, a board member with the Kenya Film Commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Alela from the Office of the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. We are principal legal advisor to the government. We protect and promote public interest.
Thank you. Let's appreciate the Attorney General's office.
I'm Jambo.
Atu Jambo.
My name is Kibara, board member, Kenya Film Commission.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Benson Mugo from State House. I'm Secretary Administration, State House.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him.
Good afternoon. My name is Asif Karim, Commissioner, Kenya Film Commission.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Let's appreciate Asif.
Good afternoon. My name is Juliana Yapan. I'm Secretary Administration, Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs. This ministry is charged with the responsibility for formulating, administering and managing and developing laws and policies that regulate the services and standards in the information and telecommunications sector, as well as the media industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's appreciate her.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Bernard Kibe from Kenya Film Commission. I'm Principal Accountant.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate it. So let's go to the...
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mercy Kigo. I'm a finance officer in the State Department for Labor, which is under the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. So this is Group 5. We are the national government. And our points under the best practices in PFM include, the first one was efficiency, transparency, and accountability. So we realized that the PFM ensures those three are taken care of. We also looked at the point as how the law is being innovative. So that's how we came up with the points. We also realized that the PFM proposes critical success factors, which include legal institutional frameworks, regulations, and measures that assist public finance management. The other point was users of the program involved in developing the tools of PFM. These tools include the systems, the regulations, and everything that is under the PFM. We also realized that the PFM links planning and budgeting. Also, one of the innovations is the IFMIS system, which ensures separation of roles, and that's where the modules under IFMIS come in. So there's planning, there's procurement, there's reporting, and nowadays there's another one called PIMS, which is Project Implementation and Management System. There is also GIMIS for parastatals. I'm sure the parastatals that are here are aware of it. All that is integrated into IFMIS, and it's part of the innovation of PFM. We also have risk management. Risk management is planned for, it is anticipated. And this is where the audit committees come in, and also public participation, etc. The PFM also ensures consolidation of laws. We cannot come up with a system without considering the users, acts, and bills, and all those legal frameworks. Under challenges, we have lack of knowledge, which means tailor-made education for the common mwananchi, the common citizen. The PFM is sometimes jargon to the common mwananchi, so it's not tailor-made for a common mwananchi to understand what's within it. We also have technological issues. This is the users do not want to adapt. We also have resistance. The other point was effective and efficient service delivery, which is lacking. We also have lack of guidelines in public participation at the national government level. So we have a user of that department, and they say there's no regulations to handle the public participation bit. We have, the next point was lack of sufficient technological and human capacity. Yes, we have the law, we have everything that is required in the system, but we don't have the tools for ensuring implementation is done. We also have a challenge in the top-bottom structure, organizational structure. Most of our operations are top-bottom, not bottom-up. There's also corruption as a challenge. Cultural values are lacking, and that's why corruption comes in. You also have over-politicization of the budget process. Two, the interventions that are there to cater for the challenges. The first one is empower citizens, that is capacity building, through capacity building, training, and awareness. There is also a rollout of ICT infrastructure at all levels of government. Then we are coming up with new strategies of combating corruption. For example, there's periodical declaration of wealth by the public service. There's also we are strengthening the legal institutions. Then the anti-corruption campaigns by both the public and private sectors. We're also digitizing government services to ensure efficiency and effective service delivery. We have also anti-corruption plans that are targeting all sectors. Then we are involving all educational sectors in instilling values at all levels, starting from the lowest, which is the kindergartens or the pre-primary. We are providing an enabling environment to the civil society and the public in public participation, especially, for example, when you're making the budget, we always involve the citizens. And then there is, we are strengthening and ensuring authorization of the audit committees in all MDAs by facilitating them. Those are the points we brought forward. And thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for that presentation, having national government institutions. And let's appreciate Group 5 once more. I think we have moved very well up to this time. Group 6, was there Group 6? Yes, Group 6? Yes, let's appreciate Group 6. And let's have the members, let's introduce the members, Group 6 members.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Dennis Arop Nono. I work with the Economic Policy Research Center as an accountant. For those of you who may not know Economic Policy Research Center, it is one of the leading think tanks across the region. We do policy research for policy formulation to the government of Uganda. So we are advisors to the government on economic issues. Thank you.
Thank you, let's appreciate him.
Good afternoon, colleagues.
Afternoon.
I'm Frederick Sechirija Wandida, the accountant, Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority from Uganda.
Thank you, let's appreciate him.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm called Anwar Danga Chobek. Anwar Danga Chobek, Chief Internal Auditor, Bank of South Sudan.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am John Achol, Chairperson of the Board Audit Committee, Bank of South Sudan.
Thank you. Let's appreciate the chair.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Patrick Mugoya, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Uganda. The mandate of my ministry is to promote and protect Uganda's interests abroad. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kahwa Kato Robert. I'm a Principal Immigration Officer with the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control. Our mandate is to regulate, control, and facilitate citizenship and migration for the development of Uganda. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm Fred Osore, Minister of Internal Affairs, Uganda. I'm a lawyer and in charge of legal advisory, Immigration Uganda. I'm his Chief Legal Advisor. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
My name is Paul Chibogo Luanga. I work with the Ministry of Internal Affairs. I head the Department of Procurement and Disposal Unit. My mandate is to professionally procure and dispose of assets of the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's appreciate him. Yes, and now to the presenter. Thank you.
Yes, and my name is Stephen Bwire. I'm the Principal Accountant in the Ministry of Internal Affairs, in charge of Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control. And I'm presenting on behalf of my colleagues from the Republic of South Sudan and Uganda. Now, we looked at the best practices while implementing PFM. And these are some of the best practices that we came up with. One is the enactment of enabling laws for implementation of the PFM. And for the case of Uganda, we started by enacting a law which was called Public Finance and Accountability Act in 2003. But due to the changes, this law was later amended in 2015, and the current law we are using is Public Finance Management Act. We also have laws like Public Procurement and the Disposal of Assets Act, and most recently, the Audit Act. Then we also looked at the participation of stakeholders in the decision-making process. This includes the politicians, the civil society, and the civil servants who are involved in this process. We also looked at, like in the case of Uganda, when we are making the budget, we have what we call the budget consultative process, where all stakeholders meet and have an input in the budget. Then the other one, one of the best practices is oversight of the whole process. And here, under oversight, we are looking at oversight from the parliament, from audit committees, and the Auditor General who comes at the end of the financial year to look at the processes. Then transparency of the whole process, how this PFM is implemented. Like the case, our case, all information regarding to public finance management is displayed on all forms of media, including websites, newspapers, and electronic media as well. Whenever quarterly releases are made to the several entities of government. This information is published in all the 4 major newspapers in Uganda. And this helps the public to track the funds released and follow up their usage. Then we also looked at the training of staff, both at the beginning and during the implementation process, to equip them with the necessary skills to cope with the changes. Then the challenges we identified, one is in Uganda, public servers are poorly remunerated, and this leads to high labor turnover of trained staff to the private sector, making implementation a bit difficult. Then resistance of change by some stakeholders, and this includes the private sector, the civil servants themselves, the political leaders. Sometimes when they have not understood what the change is all about, they tend to resist. Then frequent changes in technology affect implementation. When you have invested a lot of money, you find that technology changes, and again, you have also to change to catch up. Then the cost of implementation is equally too high. Acquiring these systems, training staff is high, and yet we are a poor country which cannot keep on affording this. Then the poor infrastructure. Just like you have the northeast of Kenya, in Uganda, we also have parts of the country which are hard to reach with the poor infrastructure. And we are talking of implementing systems like the integrated financial management system, which has to be on internet. Even electricity alone does not cover the whole of the country. So it becomes very difficult for such regions to catch up with the center. And when we come to interventions on poor remuneration, the government is undertaking pay change reforms whereby they're trying to harmonize and ensure that salaries in the public service match those of the private sector and some of the public institutions which pay well. Then under resistance of change, undertaking change management trainings, and in some extent, coercing those who don't want to embrace change to embrace it. And when it comes to technology, we try to adequately budget for resources for system upgrades, both hardware and software. And for costs, high costs, we source funding from donors and also try to budget sufficient funds. But the other one is enacting of good and strong laws like the Public Finance Management Act, the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Act. Then we also have the Leadership Code Act, where all public officers in leadership positions are required to declare their income, assets, and liabilities to the Inspector General of Government. These assets are verified, and if they find that you have more assets than the income you disclosed, they ask you to explain how you acquired them. And if you acquired them fraudulently, you will be required to forfeit them to the government. Then on poor infrastructure, we continuously try to expand the infrastructure, though the expansion is not at the required speed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the presenter, and I believe this was our last group, group number 6. Let's appreciate everyone. Let's appreciate all the presenters. So it has been a good session. I want us to have quick reactions and comments from the plenary and from the facilitator. Dr. is here, and also this session will be conducted by Madam Rebecca. Let's appreciate Madam Rebecca as she picks up.
So maybe we can stand up a bit. Let us stand up, stand up, stand up. Try to check on the person seated next to you if they are still with you or they have traveled back. We can stretch a little bit. I can see Madam there is trying to assist us. Timekeeper, maybe you can help us to stretch a bit. Yes. Which side are we going? We just go. Good. Oh, Madam, you also want our next to, okay. Hiyo ndio ya mwisho. The last one. Sorry. Let's appreciate Madam Timekeeper. So I think the discussions have been quite comprehensive, and wondering whether anybody has a comment or we can invite the next speaker. Any comment? Any addition? Now silence means we are good. Isn't it? Good. So, Daktari, I think we can continue with the next session. Let's appreciate Daktari as he takes over. A clap. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon again. And thank you for those comprehensive presentations that you've done. What is that? Oh, so there's really a lot to learn across the continent and across maybe the region. And we really appreciate that those case studies do enrich. Those case studies do enrich what we know, and we get something extra to learn from. I intended to talk about what we have here. Those case study on reengineering, PFM using technology. And I intended to look at the FMIS, which has really been quite comprehensively discussed. So I can only touch on a few areas, really, that maybe we will want to appreciate on what has happened in our country, Kenya, that is the Republic of Kenya. So just touch briefly on a few areas. One of them, that is the introduction, the legal context, technological developments in PFM, opportunities and challenges, quite briefly, really. I think we have been going through the lessons, and we've learned much about PFM, and we appreciate that PFM provides for effective management of public finances by the national and county governments, and a lot has been discussed about that. So we'll just look at our case in Kenya. the legal context of PFM, and this comes. We have the Constitution of Kenya. Sorry, I forgot. This thing is. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 made major changes in the manner in which public finances are managed in Kenya. Firstly, the Government Financial Management Act number 5 of 2004, in place before the Constitution of Kenya was promulgated, was repealed. So we're looking at reforms in terms of legal reforms and technological reforms that bring in the IFMIS, which is case study, my case study. So the act focused, the previous act, that is the Government Financial Management Act 5, it focused on streamlining the management of government financial affairs and provided for persons responsible for government resources. This act has now been repealed, as we are aware, maybe based on what has been we have been taken through, and repealed into and replaced by a Public Financial Management Act of 2012. So we would want to pick on the objectives really that informed these reforms. We have objective number 1, which aimed to ensure that PFM was consistent with the Constitution, and in particular provide for safeguarding autonomy in financial management at both levels of government, but within a unitary system of devolution. This is, or rather was the objective. And we appreciate that from the presentations that have been made, perhaps we may want to ask ourselves whether then that autonomy has been, was achieved by the passage of that law. This autonomy is supported by Article 6 and 189 of the Constitution. Article 6.2, the government at the national and county levels are distinct and interdependent and shall conduct their mutual relations on the basis of consultation and cooperation. Perhaps we appreciate that the government is actually, the two levels of government are operating on the basis of that, mutual relations, mutual consultation, and cooperation. Article 189(1)(a), the government at either level shall perform its functions and exercise its powers in a manner that respects the functional and institutional integrity of government at the other level, and respects the constitutional status and institutions of government at the other level. So we had that as one of the major objectives really that informed the PFM reform law. The spirit of these articles is that both levels of government should not interfere in the day-to-day management of finances and other affairs in the other level of government. So it is expected that each level of government then should be able to carry on its operations without broadly interfering with the operations of the other level of government. Specifically, each level of government should be able to formulate, plan, implement, and report on their budget and plans without the interference of the other government. To operationalize this concept and to avoid favoring one level of government over the other, the Act mirrored many other institutional structures for financial management of the national government at county level. So what we find with the new law and the Public Financial Management Act of 2012, we find more of parallels between what is happening at the national government and what is happening at the county government. For instance, where we have the National Assembly at the national level, we have county assembly at the county government level. And you can be able to look at a number of comparisons as far as that act is concerned. The objective number 2 was to ensure that PFM Act is firmly anchored in Article 201 of the Constitution, which I think I mentioned earlier on, that deals with the principle of public finance, and which in particular this act provides for openness, accountability, public participation, equitable sharing of revenue, and tax burden. Remember I mentioned earlier on, it is this Article 201 of the Constitution in Chapter 12 that anchors aspects or matters to do with public participation and openness in financial reporting. Objective number 3 was to consolidate the many public financial management laws into one integrated PFM law. Perhaps we find, as the presentations were done by the chief officer of finance, I think, don't remember the county, the one was representing county government, you realize the IFMIS is able to do so much. And one reason is because with the consolidation of all these laws, for instance, the consolidation of the Government Financial Management Act 204, Fiscal Management Act 209, Internal Loans Act, and all those other acts. That was achieved by consolidating all those laws. We note that the Act also caters for all legislations required under the 5th schedule of the Constitution, except for procurement law, which will be separate. I think we have Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Lastly, Objective 4, the final objective was to ensure that the Act incorporated best internal practices. The Act did this by holding extensive public consultations within and outside government, counties getting more comments from the international and local experts on public financial management, ensuring the PFM as a single law at the county and national government, and basing the policy framework on the 5 core areas of a good system of public finances. I don't think the diagram is provided there. In sum, we are saying that the objective of the Act was to ensure that national and county governments manage finances in accordance with principles spelled out in Article 201 of the Constitution. So then for us to be able to achieve that, we needed, as a country, one law that, that is being used by both the national government and county government, and that public officers account to the public through parliament and county assemblies. We realize, for example, for one to be able to withdraw any money from the consolidated fund at the national level, the Constitution creates 2 funds. For instance, at national level, we have the consolidated fund, where all the funds that come to the national government should first go before withdrawals take place. That is provided in Chapter 12 of the Constitution. So all these funds first go to the consolidated fund, and for any withdrawal then to take place from the consolidated fund, it needs to be approved by, there must be an appropriation bill passed by the National Assembly and approval of such withdrawal done by the controller of budget. When you go to the county level, we find that where we have consolidated fund at national level, we have county revenue fund, where again all the funds received by the county goes before withdrawal. And for any withdrawal, then there must be approval through, again, an appropriation bill passed by the county assembly. So where we have National Assembly passing appropriation bill at national level, at county level we have the county assembly passing that bill. And that withdrawal, again, being approved by the controller of budget. So we find then consolidation of these laws to a great extent bringing harmony in public financial management at both national and county government. Perhaps maybe one may ask, and maybe that becomes a subject for our discussion next, because that is why I actually wanted us to have a discussion on the integrated financial management, which was really comprehensively discussed by one of the groups, to be able to ask ourselves, based on maybe what I mentioned earlier on, whether 100% autonomy in PFM at county level should be should we seek to get 100% autonomy at the devolved unit? Maybe let me use the term devolved unit as opposed to counties, because in different countries you find they have different names. Or should we have a situation where this public financial management is almost to a great extent controlled by the Treasury, then what is the implication of giving devolved units significant autonomy to manage their own finances? Why is it that, for instance, we want to have withdrawals from the county revenue fund approved by the controller of budget, and same case applies to the national government? So these reforms, we have said the PFM Act outlines a new budget calendar with clear deadlines and clarifies the roles and the responsibilities of various stakeholders. In the absence of such clarifications, then we would have significant delays in budget making process. While we appreciate governments operates within certain set timelines, and any budget has a set timeline, then if there is no harmonization of dates and timelines, then we would have a crisis, especially when we are dealing with deadlines. When, for instance, the financial year ends, and then a budget is prepared for a specific period of time. So lastly, we are saying the Act introduces new PFM reforms, such as single treasury account, which has reaching implications on public financial management. So I will not mention the integrated financial management is an Oracle-based enterprise resource planning, maybe for the sake of our friends from out of the country, and I'm made to understand that this was discussed in previous presentations, so I don't want to take much time on that, but it's good for us to appreciate what it is. When we talk about FMIS, it was, when we talk about ICT innovations in public financial management, I think this was one of the major innovations as far as Kenya is concerned. And FMIS is not a Kenya proprietary product. Most of us will be aware that it is being applied in other countries as well. The functions it performs will largely be related. So it's a major innovation in IT as far as public financial management is concerned, and the benefits of the same were made known to us. Lastly, and we will also make reference to what was discussed by the groups, PFM innovations and reforms. We're looking at what then are the opportunities, broadly speaking, opportunities and challenges. PFM reforms aim to enhance the quality of governance. However, the effectiveness of PFM reforms remain the quality of governance itself. That is what we call in research reverse causality, where A causes, or let's say X causes Y, and Y causes Y causes X, X causes Y, Y causes X. So it's a case of maybe what should come first. Should we seek, so we are saying PFM reforms, the key objective is to enhance the quality of governance. So we are saying, for instance, if we digitize public financial management, we should have a situation where we improve the quality of governance. But we are saying the effectiveness of PFM itself, or rather PFM reforms, remain the quality of governance itself. That means even if we have a system, if the system of governance is wanting, then really the reform itself does not help us. We may want to think of that in light of, for instance, scandals that we know. And since this is public knowledge as far as our country is concerned, we have had cases, for instance, of the National Youth Service, NYS scandals. All these scandals, or let me say most of those, more than 90% of those scandals were effected through the IFMACE system. So the IFMACE system was supposed to improve the quality of governance, but then it is itself being used, the governance itself becomes a threat to that reform. So what should we then do? Should we start with governance and introduce PFM reforms, or do maybe what we are doing? Or is it an isolated case? Another issue, the challenge, is the issue of centralization versus decentralization. Or you may also look at the case of dealing with the national government versus devolution. Depends on how you want to look at it. So centralization versus decentralization. This issue arises out of the need to involve key stakeholders in PFM reforms. Decentralization, whether we are talking about administrative, fiscal, political, service delivery, and so on, is a policy still espoused, which argues that decentralization can broaden participation in political, economic, and social activities in developing countries. That is according to the World Bank. That is while acknowledging that the issue is complex and carries the risks. So we thought maybe when we devolve public financial management, and we have most decisions again being made in 47 locations. Because before we passed the constitution that created devolved units, all the budgeting was done at the National Assembly. But what now is happening, we have the national cake, which is first shared between the national government, and according to our constitution, it is at least for now, it is at least 15% of national revenue based on the latest audited accounts that have been approved by the National Assembly. So we are saying at least 15% should go to the counties. Then we are left with, let's say, around 85% at the national government. So that means budgeting at national government will be done for 85%. Counties will be given the rest. Of course, we are saying if BBI is passed, then maybe that 5% plus will go to the counties. I will not want to introduce that discussion, but maybe I will give it as food for thought. According to our law, and based on what I just mentioned, what counties should get is at least 15% according to the current constitution, right? So there is no law that prevents the national government right now from giving counties that 5%. You may also want to ask, and this is not a BBI pro versus against BBI, but it's a question because these are matters public financial management, and we say at the university, we approach things from a freedom of thought perspective. So we ask, what prevents us as a country right now from devolving that 5%? Now, those of us, for instance, who know that health is a devolved unit, may want to ask, it's a devolved what? Function, sorry, not unit. It's a devolved function. But what percentage of the Ministry of Health budget goes to the counties? So are we going to, because for instance, I say, okay, if I am in charge, we would pass BBI, and I say, okay, we will devolve, we will take 50% to the counties, but we also give you the functions. So which one are we going to achieve? And perhaps we may want to ask ourselves these questions when finally we have public participation, maybe when we are called for public participation. And somebody told us that the Senate is having those sessions. Maybe I need to attend. Let me know when those sessions will be held. You got the question I was asking. Whether when we pass BBI, we are going to give counties that 5%, but also give them additional functions. And what will be the net effect after that? Is it that now we'll have more money or we'll have more functions? So decentralization is popular with electors and aid donors, but the checks and balances needed to provide the necessary controls in a decentralized system are not necessarily in place in agencies with offices in remote regions where governance systems are largely still traditional and the authority of the state is weak. If you go to most of these devolved units, they will tell you when devolution first took place in Kenya, counties found themselves with a lot of money. I don't know whether we have anyone who was an MCA in the first government under the new constitution. When I meet them, they tell me they found a lot of money. They had never seen billions in a county in county accounts. So what happened? Most of them went for benchmarking in Yugoslavia, Tel Aviv, and all these countries. And when they come back, they find too much money still in the coffers. So when you look at how much money was actually absorbed from the budgets of the first 1, 2, 3 years of the under the new constitution, we realized a lot of money was returned back to the treasury. These reports are available for us to be able to look at them. So the question then is, when we devolve these PFM functions to units that maybe don't have capacity, what is the implication of that? So, but we appreciate also, in our case, Kenya, a lot has been done to strengthen the capacity of devolved units to be able to undertake this. So I think those are the views I just wanted to bring to our attention, even as we look at all these case studies that we have looked at this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daktari. Yes, we are engineering. I don't know our mindsets, if they are in that tune. Any comments from other countries? Ghana, you said you have digitalized everything, so maybe you can share something. Uganda? Zambia? Any comments? Yes? They normally say the end of a matter is more important. We are almost approaching the end, so the issues are getting more critical.
Thank you very much for the session. In Ghana, we have been having several areas of the economy being digitized. Some of the main ones that we have had is our port and harbors. Now, the process has been automated, and so it has become easier for the revenue authority to collect. We have also introduced a benchmarking system, which is easier for them to benchmark everything and give an equal value for all the items that are coming in. It's also good for our inland neighbors to also easily clear their products. Also, we have automated our passport processes. We have also automated our electricity. We can now pay our electricity. We have prepaid, so you can buy whatever amounts that you want from your phone. We have also automated our mobile networks with our banking systems. And then also, we have also done our national identification, which is now going to be linked to our tax pins. So everybody, once you have been registered by the National Identification Authority, the tax revenue authority can actually locate you and ensure that you are a taxpayer and you have paid what you're supposed to pay. So these are some of the few things. We have a couple of others that are still in the process, but these are some of the few major automations that we have done within. Thank you.
Please, to add to what my colleague had just said, we have also automated our payment options. When you buy something, you don't need to pay with physical cash. We have something we call mobile money transfer. So when you buy, you go to the shop, whether tomatoes, whether provisions, wherever you go, you just use your phone and make payment. You don't have to hold physical cash. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Zambia here.
Thank you. Basically, I just wanted to point out that somehow we seem to be in a similar situation in some of these issues. As was presented vis-a-vis centralized or decentralization. You see, the intention of, from the Zambian side, is that you talk of Parliament approves the budget. Okay, when it's done, still there's bureaucracy in expenditure despite it being approved by. So the desire has been that the money should be released at a local level where the services are being executed. That way it will be more effective, because you find that the structure the way we have is that we still have the ministry, say Ministry of Lands controls what happens even at a local level. So even the structure, the intention is good, but I think as a people we're not yet ready to devolve all these functionalities down there. So the intention, that's where the challenge is. How do you, because when you even come to staffing, when you empower when it's centralized, there's certain cost benefits because you will not have so many positions in so many localities. Certain decisions will be made, so the cost to the service delivery is a bit low. So there are pros and cons for both of them, but ultimately the desire is to have services provided for quickly, which is meant to be in a decentralized setup. The intention is there, but the progress has been slow.
Thank you. Maybe Daktari, you can handle those ones.
I think, let me touch on let me pick the first one that was mentioned. I think we appreciate that quite a number of countries in Africa have really worked towards automation and innovations in the provision of government services. We will want to appreciate that from a point of view of innovation literature, we have what we call the process innovation and the product innovation. So the product is what we are offering, but the process is how that product is itself delivered to the final user. So a lot of innovations have taken place in government, and we appreciate that. And I heard Ghana mention mobile money. Yes, Ghana, thank you very much. I think you are catching up with us. You're catching up with us, and we appreciate that. Zambia appreciates that we have a lot to compare as far as our country is concerned. So the key issue, and it becomes a hot potato. Let's say a county, let's just pick the 15% that we are saying the Constitution says should go to the county. Would it be preferable that that 15% is sent to the counties at the beginning of the year? I think we will also want to appreciate the macroeconomic environment within which countries operate, and especially countries that largely operate from a budget deficit. You know, you are going to the Treasury to tell them we have an allocation of 200 billion, and Treasury itself doesn't have money. So it is the same thing you would do as an individual when you have budgetary constraint. What do? You spend money in phases. Whatever you want to buy, you buy in phases. So even if we are talking about counties, the national government will still send money in phases in so long as the national government is operating at a budget deficit. So perhaps what we may want to ask ourselves is whether we have ways of improving our revenue collection to reduce as much as possible the budget deficit. I'm not in any way holding brief for the national government, but you would imagine, and we have people here working at the national government, you will appreciate, even if you want to send that money, it may not be there. And just like a parent would do to a child, a nagging child who is asking for money and money is not there, what do? You tell them, when you close school, I'm going to take you on holiday. And that is a holiday you can take them over the weekend. In fact, not a holiday, outing. You're taking them for outing when the schools close. You're just deferring it, not because you want, but because the resources are not there. However, we also have situations where at least a reasonable amount of money is there, but it's not sent to the counties. How to handle that? Perhaps we may want to also bring suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether we have another comment. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much for that presentation, that you gave us insights of the law, actually, PFM. And you talked about governance issues. You said, would you first have established some governance measures before the law would have been put in place? But I wanted to say that the governance measures that are there are robust. You also talked about IFMIS, and you gave an example of an incident that did take place in this country. If you look at, again, IFMIS and integrity of the system, it is again robust because it was simply manipulated, but all the same, the culprits were tracked down so that you cannot prevent people from being suicidal. You know, people will always be suicidal. They wanted to try their luck, but you can see the system has no problem. It is just manipulation by individuals who finally forgot that they had mandates which were recognized and they would be known. So I wanted to say that the governance, I think the governance and the integrity of the system, IFMIS and the governance in relation to the PFM law, it's actually adequate. But of course, that doesn't mean that reforms have to be looked at as we go on implementing the law. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments so that Dr. can summarize for us? Yes, before Dr. Mr. Rory wanted also to say something.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Looking across the development of the systems, and this is something maybe we would have to look at as we go back to the countries, is that what's the impact of ICT in terms of the transactions, and more so the growth and development of the mobile money industry in the various countries, or what we call the financial technology. If we check in terms of digitization and a number of impacts, where Kenya may have had the element of mobile money up and starting, but I know a number of countries have done quite a lot. And take, for example, I was keen in listening to the presentation from Ghana. And if you check, and it's true, Ghana's had a very robust system in terms of technology and provision of public services. So I would encourage the delegates to just get more information on what has happened and integrating the entire system into one system. And Kenya, we have been talking about even the element of national identification. After even we have national identification, still we haven't been able to reach there well. And I think maybe if we had time, the delegates from maybe the Ministry of Interior could have assisted us to decode what Kenya is doing about linking the national identification system to other systems to ease the identification and the basically management of resources in the country. Thank you so much. Unless maybe somebody from Ministry of Interior wants to make a comment. Thank you.
I think maybe before that person from the Minister of Interior makes a comment, I think we will also want to appreciate that with innovations in PFM comes innovations in theft as well. Because you remember those of us who have lived in Nairobi for some years, we used to have so many armed robberies. We used to have so many armed robberies. So does it mean that all those robbers were converted? Now most of them have moved to digital theft. And you realize it's easier to steal digitally than to steal, through armed robbery. But you imagine somebody wants to steal 100 million and just earns 0. So what does it become? It's a matter of just touching a keyboard and wiring the money. So the magnitude of theft that is likely to take place through digital wherever innovations is also likely to be higher. But we'll also appreciate as a country, we have also moved some step further by passing laws that govern digital transactions. So that is a step forward, and maybe most of us from other countries may want to borrow a leaf, and we may also want to borrow a leaf from other countries that went ahead of us. Minister of Interior, please. Was there somebody, Rory? Or you were just requesting?
I'm not sure whether they were prepared to make a comment, but I believe they are here.
Or you may not want to comment on behalf of the...
Most likely. So, I think we can close the meeting. Timekeeper anasema time is up.
Rory? So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It was nice meeting you. I may not get another session to start here, so I wish you safe travel when you the sessions end tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Dr. Moses Mwenda. It has been good having you join us for the presentation. Let's appreciate him once more. We also appreciate our timekeeper. She stood in for this afternoon. Let's appreciate her. Thank you so much. Though we did not seem to observe time, but she has done a good job. So we want to wind up for the day, and I'll make a few announcements. One is that the delegates who took the test in the morning, please, as we wind up this session, please be able to go to the desk outside, and there's information they want to share with you. So that's very important. All the delegates who had the test this morning. Then I'm told the M&E forms will be sent to your email. Please fill the forms in your email, and you're able to basically bounce them back for us or on that email as provided. Again, the tea is not served this side today. It's served out there on the right side. So we'll take tea, and today we are going to have a networking evening. We'll have our cocktail this evening, slightly starting from around 5:30 to around 8:30 there, 9. I know we would have preferred to go out, but because of the current conditions in the country and being able to be out there with the curfew also, we have restrictions. So we'll do it within. We'll have entertainment out there. We have a traditional brass band which will be able to continue entertaining you. They are there from now up to around that time. So it will be somewhere back there. You'll be guided as you walk. There's an open space. So that's where we'll have our cocktail, dinner, and our networking activities. We'll be joined by a guest from out, the regional commissioner for the coastal region. So we'll be able to be together with the director general for the school, and Dr. Scott will be with us. So that will be a good combination. I'm told there are those who wanted to take some minutes to walk out. We have organized with the security, those who want to walk around to the beach down here, the Mamangina waterfront. Immediately you take your tea in the next 10, 15 minutes, would have a walk just round to the ocean, then be able to see a few areas. If we are able to get to Fort Jesus, well and good, there are features around. So we'll do that in the next 15 minutes after tea. Then after that, all of us will be together up to the time we are able to finish the day. So we encourage and we invite all of you. Let's network, let's share, let's know each other. I can tell you much about the Civil Aviation School, and you understand what's going on in the country. That's very important. That opportunity is from now. Otherwise, we thank you most sincerely for being with us since morning. Please clap for yourself for being good people up to this time. You have been very great. You have had a great day together, and we look forward to being together tomorrow as we wind up. So tomorrow, our session will start at 9 in the morning. So let's assemble here from 8:30. It shows that we start at 9, relatively late, but we'll have a session for 1 hour, which will touch on some of the things we have been able to do this afternoon, and looking forward on how we are going to do better in management of our finances. Otherwise, with those very many remarks, we appreciate all of you, and somebody to pray for us to close the session from this hall to other venues. Can I have a volunteer to close the day for us?